7 Disturbing Traits You Earn Only Through Hell. Carl Jung. Have you ever wondered why some people carry a weight you can almost feel when they walk into a room? Why their eyes seem to hide entire worlds of pain, and yet an unshakable strength radiates from within? What if I told you that surviving hell doesn't just leave scars? It forges a completely different human being. Carl Jung understood something that society desperately tries to ignore. Pain doesn't just hurt. It mutates you. It carves into your soul, stripping away illusions you didn't even know you carried. And those who have truly suffered are marked by disturbing traits. Traits that set them apart forever. Today, we are diving deep into the 7 disturbing traits you only earn by enduring your personal hell. Prepare yourself, because this video won't comfort you. It will confront you. And if you recognize these signs in yourself, you might realize you're far stronger than you ever believed. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Because here, we speak the truths that others are too afraid to even whisper. Trait 1. Eyes that have seen too much. There's a weight in the eyes of those who have suffered deeply. A weight that no smile, no laugh, no fleeting joy can ever completely erase. It's a gravity that pulls you in, leaving you speechless before the silent truth they carry. These are the eyes that have witnessed the death of illusions, the slow, painful unraveling of dreams once held sacred. They have seen betrayal from those they trusted most, abandonment at the darkest hour, the crumbling of certainties they once clung to like lifelines. Their vision has been permanently altered. They see through the lies the world so desperately tries to sell. Innocence in them is not merely lost. It has been burned away by fire. Behind that gaze is a library of agonies, cataloged silently, remembered without choice. It's not bitterness you sense. It's a fierce, tragic wisdom. They know the world can shatter without warning. They know love can turn to cruelty, that promises are often made only to be broken. And yet, they keep looking. They keep seeing. They refuse the comforting blindness that shields the naive. Their eyes do not seek to convince or to impress. They simply bear witness to the brutal truths they have survived. You will know when you meet someone like this. You will feel it in your gut, the heaviness, the sorrow, the depth. It is as if they have lived 1,000 lives in one. It is as if they carry, in their quiet gaze, a mirror to your own hidden griefs. And perhaps, in that moment, you will recognize yourself. Perhaps, without words, you will realize that you too have seen too much, and that you are no longer alone. If this resonates with you, tell me in the comments. Your eyes carry a story that deserves to be seen. Trait 2. A heart that bleeds without breaking. When a heart suffers enough, logic would suggest it should harden, retreat, become a fortress against further wounds. But those who have truly suffered often reveal the opposite. A heart that bleeds more easily, more openly, yet refuses to collapse. Pain, instead of killing their ability to love, deepens it. It sharpens their empathy into something visceral, immediate. They don't just sympathize. They feel the cracks in other souls as if they were their own. Their kindness is raw, fierce, and often misunderstood because it comes from a place of scars, not naivety. This heart knows the cost of trust. It knows that love often comes wrapped in barbed wire. And yet, it offers itself again, not foolishly, but courageously. To open a wounded heart to the world is an act of rebellion against despair. It is a declaration. You could not destroy me. These hearts give without losing themselves, love without illusions, and forgive not because they forget, but because they have learned the terrible burden of carrying hatred. Their bleeding is not a weakness. It is a sacred fire that keeps them human in a world that rewards numbness. If you carry a heart that still feels after all the storms, you are rare beyond words. You are the proof that pain does not have the final word. You are the living defiance of a world that tried to make you cold. Share your experience below if you recognize this in yourself. Let others who are silently bleeding know that they are not bleeding alone. Trait 3. A soul that trusts its own darkness. Those who have endured true suffering are no longer afraid of their darkness. They have sat with it, stared into its eyes, wrestled it through endless nights when no one else could see. They have learned that to survive is not to deny the monster within. It is to recognize it, name it, and tame it without shame. Their soul no longer clings to childish fantasies of being purely good. They know what they are capable of at their worst, and because they know, they are less dangerous to others and infinitely more powerful within themselves. This relationship with darkness grants them a strange kind of peace. They no longer fear the shadows that lurk inside their thoughts, for they have mapped that territory with blood and tears. They can walk into their own storms without trembling. They can witness their rage, their grief, their hunger for destruction, and choose, again and again, not to be ruled by it. Society teaches us to fear our inner darkness, to repress it, to pretend it does not exist. But those who have suffered know the deeper truth. You can only master what you have dared to face. When you meet a soul like this, you will feel a solidity, a groundedness that cannot be faked. They are not interested in appearing virtuous. They are interested in being whole. Their honesty about their own flaws makes them magnetic, dangerous, and breathtakingly real. If you recognize in yourself the courage to sit with your own darkness, to learn from it instead of running, then you are already walking a path that few ever dare to tread. Let me know in the comments if you have met your own shadow and lived to tell the tale. Trait 4, a silence that roars louder than words. There is a silence that screams louder than any words ever could, and it belongs to those who have known unbearable pain. This silence is not emptiness. It is not the absence of thought or feeling. It is a field of raw, compressed experience, too vast, too sacred, too devastating to be wasted on small talk. They do not speak unless it matters. They do not fill the air with noise just to avoid the discomfort of quiet. They are at home in silence because they have been forced to endure the kind that could break lesser souls. Their silence carries weight. It makes you aware of yourself in ways that chatter never could. It forces reflection. It challenges pretense. When you sit with them, you feel naked before their quiet, as if they're peeling away your mask without ever lifting a finger. Their silence demands authenticity, not because they intend to judge, but because their very presence is a reminder that life is too short, too brutal, and too precious for lies. In a world that screams for attention, that rewards loudness and punishes reflection, their silence is an act of quiet rebellion. It is an offering of sacred space, a space where truth and only truth can exist. If you have discovered the power of saying nothing when nothing needs to be said, if you have found strength in your own sacred silence, comment below. There is more wisdom in one moment of true silence than in 1,000 empty words. Trait 5, an unbreakable forged by fire. There's a certain resilience that cannot be taught, bought, or faked. It can only be earned through devastation. Those who have suffered profoundly possess a will that has been forged in fires most people cannot even imagine. They have faced moments where giving up seemed inevitable, even rational. Moments when life offered them no rewards for enduring, only more pain. And yet, something inside them refused to die. Something primitive, ancient, and indestructible kept breathing, kept moving, even when everything around them turned to ash. This kind of will does not roar. It does not boast. It does not beg for recognition. It endures silently, invisibly, like roots gripping the earth through hurricane winds. It is the strength to get up one more time when the body aches and the soul screams for rest. It is a refusal to let despair win. It is the understanding that pain is not the enemy. Surrender is. They do not move because they are unafraid. They move because they know fear cannot be the master of their fate. When you stand in the presence of someone with this will, you feel like a pulse, steady and relentless. They may not be the loudest in the room, nor the most polished, but they are the ones who will still be standing when everyone else has fallen. If you recognize in yourself the stubborn, aching, undefeatable will, share it in the comments. Let's honor the warriors who walk among us, often unnoticed, yet carrying the weight of invisible worlds. Trait 6, a sense of isolation that no crowd can cure. After surviving deep suffering, there's a loneliness that clings to you, even in the midst of crowds, even among those who claim to understand. It's a realization that most people have not been where you've been, have not lost what you have lost, have not faced what you have faced. This is not arrogance. It is reality. When you have walked through your private hell and returned, the trivialities of normal conversation, the shallow dramas of daily life, feel like a foreign language. There is a distance, an invisible wall. You can laugh, you can engage, you can even love, but a part of you always remains somewhere else, somewhere deeper, somewhere few can follow. This isolation is not chosen, but it becomes a kind of home, a place where you can protect the sacred ruins you carry within. You learn to stop expecting others to fully understand. You learn that true connection is rare, and when it happens, it is sacred beyond words. This loneliness sharpens your perceptions. It teaches you to value depth over company, truth over comfort, and sometimes in the dark hours of the night, it reminds you that your survival came at a cost few could ever comprehend. If you live with the silent exile, if you have learned to make peace with solitude forged in fire, share your truth below. In recognizing each other, we build the bridges that even suffering could not burn. Trait 7, a compassion that cuts deep. True compassion is not born from comfort. It is carved from agony. Those who have suffered deeply don't offer shallow sympathy. They offer compassion that cuts to the bone. They don't just nod politely when others speak of pain. They feel it with them, remembering the nights when they too had no one to turn to, when even hope seemed like a cruel joke. Their kindness is not polished or performative. It is raw, imperfect, and devastatingly real. When they reach out to you, it is not out of obligation or image. It is because they recognize the silent scream behind your words. They recognize the trembling hidden behind your strength. They know what it means to carry invisible wounds while pretending to be whole. Their compassion isn't about fixing you. It's about standing with you in the ruins, without judgment, without fear. And sometimes, that simple act of being there is more healing than 1,000 well-meaning speeches. This kind of compassion is rare because it costs so much to earn. It costs pieces of your soul. It costs dreams that had to die so you could survive. If you have ever given comfort that came from your own scars, not your theories, not your good intentions, but your scars, then you carry this brutal, sacred gift. Tell me below if you understand what it means to bleed for others without losing yourself. Trait 8, a wisdom born from ashes. There is a kind of wisdom that can't be taught in classrooms, read in books, or faked through clever words. It is the wisdom born only when everything you believe in is burned to the ground. Those who have suffered deeply know what it means to lose everything: security, identity, love, and to be forced to rebuild from nothing but ashes. They know that knowledge is not the same as wisdom. Knowledge can be accumulated. Wisdom is what remains when knowledge has failed you, and you have nothing left but your naked, battered soul. This wisdom is not loud. It does not shout its credentials. It doesn't seek to impose itself on others. It moves quietly, sees beneath the surface of things, and understands that certainty is often just another form of fear. It recognizes that life is not a series of neat answers, but a constant unfolding of mysteries, some of which we are not meant to solve. Those who carry this wisdom do not rush to judge, nor are they easily fooled by appearances. They have seen too much to be impressed by noise or distracted by illusions. If you have found yourself wiser not because of your victories, but because of your defeats, if the ashes of your lost battles have somehow fertilized the soil of your soul, then you've been touched by this rare and brutal gift. Comment below if you recognize this in yourself. There is a sacred fire that only the broken truly know how to tend. Trait 9, a patience sharpened by suffering. Those who have suffered deeply move through the world differently. They no longer rush. They no longer grasp at life as if everything must happen now. Their urgency has been burned away by experience. Pain has taught them that nothing real is ever rushed. Not healing, not love, not justice. And so, their patience is not passivity. It is forged discipline. It is the wisdom to wait while collapsing, to endure uncertainty without turning bitter, to resist the desperate need for immediate answers. This patience is not weakness. It is a hardened form of power. It means holding space through the unbearable silence. It means watching others flail in panic while they remain still, breathing through the storm, knowing that not all storms need to be fought. Some just need to be survived. They have waited for hope in places where hope had long abandoned them. They have waited for dawn in nights that seemed endless. And because of that, they can now wait with dignity when the world demands reaction. You'll see it in the way they pause before responding, in how they observe rather than rush, in how they are comfortable with the slow unfolding of things. Patience like this is almost supernatural. It cannot be gifted, it must be bled for. If you've been shaped by the long agony of waiting, if your soul has learned to breathe through the unbearable, share below. Your patience is not silent, it is thunder restrained. Trait 10, a courage to lose everything again. Perhaps the most haunting gift of suffering is this. Once you've lost everything and survived, you're no longer afraid of losing again. There's a terrifying freedom in that. Those who walk through total devastation know that life can be rebuilt, not as it was, but as it must become. They know that attachments are temporary, and identities are illusions. They no longer cling to what they have. Instead, they love fiercely and live honestly, knowing full well it could all vanish tomorrow. This courage is not loud. It's not reckless. It's rooted in grief, in the memory of what it's like to have nothing but your own breath and still choose to keep breathing. These people do not chase comfort. They chase truth. They will walk away from safety if it means staying true to their soul. They will burn the false life they built if it begins to suffocate them again. They are not afraid to start over, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they've learned the price of betraying themselves is far higher than the pain of loss. If you know what it means to risk everything again for what feels right, if you've walked away from people, jobs, families, even identities, because your soul demanded it, then you've tasted this trait. Tell me in the comments, what did you lose to stay alive inside? This kind of courage doesn't roar. It quietly destroys everything that isn't true. Trait 11, a love that refuses to die. There's a love that is born not from fairy tales, not from perfect stories, but from war zones inside the heart. Those who have suffered deeply understand that real love is not about comfort or easy moments. It's about surviving darkness together or alone, and still choosing, again and again, to keep their heart open. After betrayal, after abandonment, after humiliation, their ability to love should have died. By all logic, it should have withered into bitterness. And yet, somehow it remains, bloodied, bruised, but fiercely alive. This love is different. It does not cling. It does not beg. It does not demand to be returned in equal measure. It simply is. It loves with eyes wide open, knowing full well the risks. It sees the flaws, the dangers, the inevitable heartbreak, and chooses love anyway, not because it expects reward, but because love, real love, is who they have become. It is a rebellion of their soul against a void that tried to consume them. Loving after deep suffering is an act of sacred defiance, a statement that says, you try to destroy me, you failed. If you know what it's like to keep loving after you've been broken, if you found yourself offering your heart again, even when fears scream at you to run, then you carry the sacred fire. Comment below if your love survived the fires meant to destroy it. In a world that glorifies cynicism, your heart is a revolutionary force. Trait 12, a presence that demands respect without words. Some people demand respect with titles, status, or loud displays of power. But those who have suffered deeply command respect simply by existing. They don't need to announce themselves. Their presence speaks louder than any boast could. It's in the way they move, steady, grounded, unshakable. It's in the way they listen, fully, without the need to dominate. It's in the quiet certainty that radiates from them. I have been through hell. I have survived. I have nothing to prove. This kind of presence cannot be faked. It is carved from loss, betrayal, humiliation, and the slow, painful rebuilding of self that no longer relies on external validation. These are the people who make you stand a little straighter when they enter a room. Not because they intimidate you, but because they remind you, without saying a word, of your own potential for strength. They awaken something inside you that yearns to be as real, as untamed, as unbreakable as they are. If you've ever felt that you no longer need to explain yourself, that your existence itself has become a statement, then you embody this final trait. Tell me in the comments, when did you realize you didn't need anyone's permission to exist with dignity? Those who have walked through fire no longer ask for respect. They are respect. You were forged by fire. Honor what you've become. You are not the same as you were before the suffering came. You were shattered. You were scorched. You were stripped of everything false. And what remains, what stands here now, is something that no easy life could have ever produced. These 12 traits are not just scars. They are symbols. Symbols of battles survived, of illusions destroyed, of a spirit that refused to be extinguished. You carry the wisdom of ashes, the patience of the wounded, the love of the betrayed, and the presence of the unbreakable. Carl Jung knew, it is only through confronting our deepest pain that we awaken our truest self. You are not broken. You are initiated. You are not lost. You are being prepared for a life of depth few will ever understand. If this video spoke to the secret places inside you, the places no one sees, then don't keep this journey to yourself. Like this video to honor what you survived. Subscribe to the channel if you are ready to reclaim your truth beyond the illusion society sells you. Activate the bell so you don't miss the next step of this awakening. And share this video with someone who carries silent wounds. Someone who needs to remember they are not alone. Your scars are not shame. They are sacred. You were forged by fire. Now live like it.